Hello everyone and welcome to another video. In late 1983, Doctor Who celebrated its 20th anniversary with a special 90-minute multi-Doctor extravaganza episode, The Five Doctors. This saw all five of the original actors to have played the... Oh, okay. Maybe not all of the original actors, but still, all five Ah, right. Wasn't the title bit misleading then? Shouldn't it be called instead the 3 and a bit Doctors or something? Anyway, you all have read the title, so let's just get on with it. What if Tom Baker was in the Five Doctors? Okay, I know some of you don't really like it when I have a few jokes in these videos, but I promise you that's the end of it now. I just couldn't resist doing an intro like that for this. But turn to the scenario. Well, it's actually not as implausible as you might have first thought. You see, contrary to what some fans might think, Tom Baker came really close to appearing in the Five Doctors. He was actually down to do it for quite a while, only really dropping out when Terrance Dicks was well into writing the script. So, in terms of what role the Fourth Doctor would play in the special, we already have a very good idea of what it would have been. According to Shannon Sullivan's website, it would have been Four who would have travelled to the capital and discovered that Barusa was the villain behind it all. The Fifth Doctor would instead have, along with the second and third, tried to reach the Dark Tower through the 3 different entrances, and the First Doctor would have stayed behind in the Fifth's TARDIS, along with Susan, Tegan and Turlough. So it kind of sounds like the Fourth Doctor would have had the most substantial role in the story, instead of his cricket-loving successor, who was the current Doctor at the time of course. Apparently this was a deliberate choice on Dick's part, as he knew how popular Four was among fans and the audience in general. But that seems kind of unfair to give Four more of a role than Five, so I'm going to change it a bit. For this scenario, the Fifth Doctor will still be the one who is transported to the capital and finds out about Barusa's true nature. So, just like how he was in the real-life version of the story. But the Fourth Doctor will now be the one to take one of the routes for the Dark Tower. Probably the same one that the First Doctor took in our timeline. I should say that if Four had been in the story, then the idea was to reunite him with Sarah Jane Smith. Since we sadly never really got to see Tom Baker and Elizabeth Sladen reunite on screen, I think their reunion in this alternate Five Doctors would be really touching, and well, I just can't help but include it. So here's how it all plays out. The Fourth Doctor is successfully plucked out of his timeline by Barusa and the Time Scoop. Perhaps this could be during an unseen adventure set during Season 18 or Season 17 instead of Sharda. The Time Scoop still captures Sarah Jane in the same circumstances as it did in our timeline, but when she arrives in the Death Zone and falls over a non-existent cliff or whatever the hell was going on, it's the Fourth Doctor that now saves her life, not the third. This would honestly be a really lovely moment, and I bet Tom and Liz Sladen would both be really glad to be acting alongside each other again after so long. The Third Doctor, meanwhile, is reunited with the Brigadier at the supposed unit reunion party. So he takes the place of the Second Doctor, who is now reunited with Jamie instead, assuming that Fraser Hines' Emmerdale schedule allows him to now appear in the Five Doctors, which is a bit of a stretch, but never mind. Bree and the Brig then encounter the Autons, who were actually supposed to appear in the special, with the idea to have them appear in a ruined replica of a high street being used, but now with a returning Jo Grant arriving in the middle of it instead of Sarah Jane. The Third Doctor and the Brig rescue Jo, and all 3 of them quickly drive off in Bessie as the Autons shoot at them. Meanwhile, Four and Sarah witness the Raston warrior robot massacring a whole army of Cybermen play out during their journey. They then stumble onto the Fifth Doctor's TARDIS, with Four thinking it's his own. They obviously then go inside and meet the Fifth Doctor, Tegan and Turlough. Perhaps they get there slightly before the First Doctor and Susan, with there being 3 Doctors in the console room once One and Susan have also arrived. 1, 4 and 5 decide on the plan of action. 5 will go with Tegan and take the route to the Dark Tower's main ground level entrance, 4 and Sarah will take the higher up route, and 1 and Susan will stay behind in the TARDIS with Turlo. However, after the Master appears and the Cybermen make their subsequent attack, the 5th Doctor uses the recall device to travel to the capital. Tegan then decides to turn back to tell the 1st Doctor, Susan and Turlo what happened. This might feel a little out of character for her, but never mind. The 4th Doctor and Sarah then take the routes to the ground level entrance. It is them that then encounter the Master again and watch the Cybermen get destroyed by that deadly chessboard. The 3rd Doctor, Jo and the brig fly across to the Dark Tower's highest entrance at the top, still using leftover equipment from the Rastan warrior robots, now with Free not knowing what exactly has transpired between it and the Cybermen, of course. The 2nd Doctor and Jamie, meanwhile, go through the lower level cave route to the tower. A Yeti still makes an appearance, and 2 and 3 still encounter phantoms of some of their other past companions once they're inside the tower. Maybe 4 does too, seeing Harry and Leela. The 1st Doctor, meanwhile, decides to also journey to the tower, with Tegan still joining him. They take the same route as the 4th Doctor and Sarah. The first 4 Doctors then meet each other in the crypt. Barusa and the possessed 5th Doctor then arrive, with Doctors 1 to 4 using their combined telepathic powers to break 5 of Barusa's influence, and then all of the Doctors face off against Barusa. From there, everything plays out the exact same. Barusa puts on the Ring of Rassilon, only for Rassilon to trick him and turn him into stone, and then all the Doctors make their farewells. I can imagine 4 probably getting on with 2 the most, with him gently mocking and poking fun at the others, especially 3 and 5. He probably offers them all jelly babies, only for just the 2nd and 5th Doctors to accept and take one each. And then, well, that's pretty much it. Each past Doctor and companion team are returned to their own times, leaving just the 5th Doctor, Tegan and Turlo to quickly make their exits when Chancellor Flavia tries to appoint 5 as a new Lord President, and that's the alternate 5 Doctors done with. I feel like all of this works better than just giving 4 all of the stuff that 5 ended up doing in our timeline, as then at least the majority of the Doctors get a fair share of the action, apart from the poor old 1st Doctor, who spends a good chunk of his time just standing there talking to Susan and Turlo in the TARDIS. In terms of how this might affect future anniversary specials, such as Dimensions in Time and The Day of the Doctor, I don't think it would affect Dimensions in Time that much, unless maybe Tom wants a bigger role in it, I suppose, or we just have the Dark Dimension instead, perhaps. As for The Day of the Doctor, as Tom's appearance as the creator was kind of arguably done to make up for his lack of appearance in the 5 Doctors, perhaps one of the other Doctors would play the role instead. Maybe Colin Baker, to sort of make up for the awful way he was dismissed from the parts of the 6th Doctor in his era, which then means that he continues to be the creator for volumes 1 and 2 of the 8th Doctor Big Finish series, Stranded. And then they have either McCoy or Davison as another incarnation of the creator for Stranded 4 and One Some Future. It's probably safe to say that the 5 Doctors would have been even better with Tom Baker's presence, as then fans wouldn't spend years afterwards gently poking fun at the story for being more like the 4-ish Doctors instead, which I obviously joined in on with the intro earlier on. And Tom Baker does still remain arguably the most popular classic series Doctor to this very day, and second only to David Tennant in terms of popularity overall. So I'm sure viewers and fans would have loved to have seen him come back for the 5 Doctors. I understand why he didn't in real life though. I mean, from his perspective, he'd literally only just left the show 2 years beforehand, and he was probably very heavily typecast for quite some time afterwards. Why would he want to come back so soon, bearing all of that in mind? But his presence would have certainly enhanced the story for fans and made the 20th anniversary special a very special event indeed. But anyway, so there's my take on what if Tom Baker was in the 5 Doctors. What do you think? Do you like my take on it or not? And would you have done anything differently? Please let me know in the comments section below. Anyway, so thanks for watching, hope you liked it. Please don't forget to press that subscribe button below, as well as press the bell icon on the side of it, so that you'll stay notified of when all my new videos come out. And I shall see you all in another video. So, until next time, bye!